Fantastic to be back. Okay, now we're going to talk about strengthening local supply chains. A very important topic. I already have been listening to some other talks before and talk about how important supply chains are. And I'm very delighted to have a very esteemed panel here with me today and this evening as the final panel of today. And we also want to make this interactive. If you have been to the opening panel this morning, you know that I like you to ask questions. So you can already go into Slido and feel free to already put your questions in there, start voting up. We want to make this as engaging as possible. And with me, I got fantastic speakers. I got Carmen Meyers with me, the Vice President of Business Management, Europe and Global Sales, Battery Materials, BASF.
Hello, everyone.
We have Mark Laderer with us, Executive Vice President, Mobility and Battery Solutions at Manz AG.
Hello.
Claude, the Global Battery Supply Chain Director at Schneider Electric and President of Upcell Alliance.
Hello.
And Nicolas, Bozek, Head of Partnership at Basquevolt.
Happy to be here.
Fantastic. And we already have one poll. We can also get some bit of a sense of the room about, do we need a comprehensive European battery supply chain? So if you want to kind of vote in there, we can react to this a bit later on as well. So maybe let's start.
So far,
We're doing
anonymous.
Let's see how this looks later on. Great. Carmen, would like to start with you and talk about raw materials and chem materials, cathodes, of course, BASF being quite a known player in this regards, and some of the challenges maybe you see to establish this locally here in Europe.
Well, yeah, we've been talking a little bit also in the run-up to the panel, and also due to the fact that we're the last one separating everyone from their drinks and dinner, really cutting to the chase. I think we have, in comparison to competition, especially from Asia, we have three key factors. One is that subsidies. They're also comparison to the IRA to North America now, a point where we struggle. The second one would be ESG regulation. So not all the regions have to comply to the same strict standards. And then the third one is energy cost, which is definitely also rather putting competitiveness under pressure for the European-based value chains at the moment.
Fantastic. Thank you. And I think this also links nicely with the opening panel, where we definitely had some of these topics there as well. If you then go from the raw material, of course, we have to put it on the battery materials. We have to put them together into cells. And we need equipment to do this. So maybe next we can go to Mark, and you can maybe share a bit of the work you're doing with this consortium you built to kind of provide a full turnkey solution. Maybe also some of your experience with that and some of the things you want to share on that.
Okay, thank you. Welcome from my side. So we as Manz are in this business more than 10 years, yeah? But for 1.5, 2 years, we see that we are, as Manz alone, not strong enough. And so search for partners, and this was the starting point for this strategic cooperation with Dürr and Grob together to make it possible to develop and to deliver for a European gigafactory from a European supply chain. We are now still 1.5 years in progress. I would say it's a very good exchange, and the market saw us, but up to today we got not the chance to realize and show that it's capable, that we have everything what we need in hand to upscale a gigafactory with a 100% supply chain out of Europe.
Great. Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Then if we also stay on machining, I think we can go next as another kind of Schneider Electric approach. Kind of some of the opportunities and challenges you have seen from your end.
Yeah, thank you. For us, we understood this business with two points of view. First, the third generation of battery, lithium-ion, but also the fourth generation, the solid-state battery. And we believe that these two situations are quite very different. I mean, for the third generation lithium-ion, our ASEAN colleague have a huge experience and did innovation and making machinery since maybe 10 plus, something like this, 10 year plus. And it means that for us, it is possible to do something in Europe, but it will be definitely a huge challenge. And we believe that for this challenge, it will be mandatory to collaborate, certainly between Europe, North America, Asia. For the fourth generation, we believe that the situation is very different. We believe that today the current level of innovation is well balanced on the world. We see that in Europe we have a very strong stakeholder. We saw on the stage a few, like my colleague from Basquevolt. And we believe that the game will be different and we could imagine a lot of things. But in any case, what we believe inside Schneider Electric is that the collaboration will be something mandatory. Without collaboration, we will not succeed. And we'll need also to collaborate certainly with Alliance. As you know, as you said, Schneider Electric is inside Upcell Alliance. We really believe that this alliance could have a huge benefit for Europe, but certainly beyond the Europe. But we want also to collaborate with every alliance who really wish to do something strong for the Europe. We also believe that the key point is to help battery manufacturers to survive and to be competitive enough. Because if we did not, and if we lost our battery manufacturers, I guess that developing our machinery, like our great colleagues from Manz or Dur, if we just have customers from Asia, I don't want to say that it will be impossible, but it will be more complex. Then we need to save our strong stakeholder, and we need to think about the full ecosystem of a battery. I mean, for sure, machine builder, it is the main reason why we created Upcell, but for sure also battery manufacturer, as I said, but university, chemical supplier like BASF, and every stakeholder. We need also, I believe, we believe, to think maybe a bit differently, and why not think about a medium-sized factory, not for sure a gigafactory. Gigafactory is maybe not the answer of everything. It is what we believe. What we are sure is this challenge, as we have now, is a beautiful challenge because it will leave us the opportunity to develop our collaboration, our availability to do it, and the thing as we could find is, the success of a planet. There are no planet B. I am not the guy who create this sentence. It means if we do not succeed now, it will be an issue for everyone. Then we cannot. And I also believe that is the last point, that in Europe we have strong countries, strong governments, strong stakeholders who have a lot of experience. Your country, Germany, is just beautiful for industry, but we have also beautiful countries with a lot of knowledge. But I guess now for this game, we'll have to be all together. And if we will be all together, we will succeed. I am sure about it.
Thanks so much, Claude.
Thank you.
And then also I just want to say, I know it's the end of the day, but don't be shy. Please put your questions also in the Slido. I see about 68 people being online there right now, but please, if you have any questions, please drop them in there now. And then we just spoke about, we have our materials sorted, we got our equipment sorted, now we have to put it together also and make some cells. So maybe, Nicolas, you can give us your perspective on why also it's so important to Basquevolt to actually have a local supply chain.
Yes, thank you. So for those of you who were there at the previous panel, I'll just say a few words about Basquevolt. Basquevolt is a relatively newcomer in the battery world. We are 18 months old. We were created at the initiative of the Spanish Basque government, and that is important discussion that we're going to have in a minute. But we didn't come out of nowhere. We're based on 10 years of research from the CIC Energy Gune, which is a research center also in the Basque government that has been led by Professor Michel Armand, a very famous professor in the battery world. So we are putting together a unique solid-state battery technology based on lithium metal anode and gel polymer electrolyte. And we are aiming to support the 2035 goal of 100% EV penetration by having a significant breakthrough in the cost reduction of batteries. This is really how we frame Basquevolt. So why is local for local or partnerships important for Basquevolt? It's important with two aspects. First of all, I just explained that Basquevolt was created at the initiative of the Basque government. So you may not know, or maybe a lot of you know actually, but in the Spanish Basque country, the automotive component industry is extremely competitive. It's a massive industry which is also facing a significant disruption with the adoption for EV. So obviously, with the Basque government as a majority stakeholder at this stage, you can understand that focusing on local partnerships is a key prerogative, local European, sorry for that. But that's not all, right? Because we don't just do things because the government wants. It also allows us to go much faster. So that's, I've just mentioned, so we've been created 18 months ago, but at 18 months we went from 5 milliampere hour coin cell, single layer, to 5 ampere hour, 12 layer cells, pouch cells, and in a few months we're going to have our 20 ampere hour cells. So we were able to go so fast because we were focusing on our core competency, because we were focusing on the electrolyte and the cell design. And for the rest of the value chain, we're really bringing in the partners. We're really bringing in, the experts. That's how we can go so fast. And in that context, really, local makes a difference. In innovation, local makes a difference. So with that in mind, if we expand the scope to what does that mean for Europe, right? So I think already this morning the discussion was pretty clear. So Europe started late in the battery, so we're facing a significant lag to start. We do not have the same tools that our American colleagues have. So does this make sense to want to go head to head, and Gen 3, as Claude was saying, in lithium ion, which is really reaching, I won't say commodity, but very late maturity stage. In Basquevolt view, if Europe is going to have a chance, we need to level the playing field. In order to do that, we need to shift the discussion to new technology, to new innovation. And that's why we think solid state is going to be a key for the European battery industry. So once I've said that, what does that mean? So clearly, there's opportunity for the European battery industry. For example, lithium metal. We think lithium metal is going to be critical for the energy breakthrough of the next generation of battery. Today, if you want to source gigawatt hours worth of lithium metal, you cannot. So clearly, there's an opportunity to take a stand in that domain. And with lithium metal is very expensive, so in order to introduce it into the battery, we want to make lithium metal anodes as thin as possible, ultra-thin anodes, less than 10 microns, 5 microns. This is also very advanced technology where Europe can make a stand, can introduce this technology and take a lead in the next generation of battery. Furthermore, stacking this very thin lithium metal foil is not an easy task. We're working on it, but also, for our partners, our friends of the machine industry, this is definitely a place where you can make a stand, again, towards making Europe more sustainable as an industry. And where Basquevolt is standing, we're also going to, take our part. And not only are we putting together, our own gigafactory plants, so we're talking about, we're going to have our own plants, but we are going to make our technology available to the gigafactories that are already, out there or getting built right now. Like this morning, we saw like 30 gigafactories that are going to come out of, of the earth in the next few years, planning to build lithium-ion cells, so kind of like, late-stage cells. With the Basquevolt technology, we're going to help those gigafactory transition to solid state. you know, our technology can use 80% of the current process, barring what I've just explained about the lithium metal, which requires specific equipment.
Great, thank you, Nicolas. And I think this also touches a bit on some of the discussion we already had, which is really what should we focus on? Like what is, you know, the special kind of source we have here in Europe? What in the supply chain is really something we want to move at?
Yeah. Maybe if I can add, because I think it definitely is important that for the technology that is being focused on or chosen, we basically apply what a lot of the colleagues are applying in their daily operations, which is some sort of a parallelization of things. So to really compete at scale and also ensure that the promise to living up to there's no planet B is also met. We believe that there is a lot of value and also room in the European market for both the established and the new technologies. On BASF side, our portfolio, we have one of the broadest of cathode active material in the industry. We see that we can work very well and develop jointly a lot with the different types of partners, and ultimately really focusing also on what is the most sustainable in the ecological sense solution, where if you think further into the next 5 to 10 years to come, we also will have a lot of focus on recyclability of the technologies and closing the loop. So there, again, it's a little bit this chicken and egg. Yeah, the sooner you get to a certain scale, the more you can also establish the processes and technologies on that end, and that will really then ultimately not only have a battery that with its footprint is dependent on renewable energy that's being charged into it, but also itself comes with a minimal carbon footprint, which is actually also for us very much in our DNA, and so to speak, the mission we are on at BASF to really supply superior carbon footprint material.
Thank you, Carmen. And I definitely will touch on this also. We see it later. Go to Raw Materials Act, how are we going to get there? So maybe we can get on this. But before, I want to go to Mark, because there's a lot of interest in the work you're doing with Manz right now and the consortium, and you know how competitive this can actually be, for example, to a Chinese turnkey provider.
Yes, I think we are on the technology side competitive against the Asian competitors, yeah, but not on the cost side, yeah, because the Asians have now more than 10 years experience. They build a lot of gigafactories and they have a complete other cost structure than we in Europe. Yeah. But the technology is there, so I repeat myself, so Manz is more than 10 years in this business, and also European starts in the earliest of 27, 28 with the first experience, but then they make decision to stop it, yeah, and follow not this trend. But I think now everybody should see that there is no stop for the e-mobility. Yeah? The combustion engine is dead. Yeah? We will follow this e-mobility trend, and for this we prepared in this cooperation that we have everything what is needed from the electro manufacturing over the cell assembly up to module assembly and pack assembly, that we can deliver this with this two companies, and there is one leg for the formation in our cooperation, but there we have at the moment also preferred supplier where we can build the complete supply chain. But on the other hand, yeah, when I would answer the question, yeah, many companies, it makes not so easy to come to a clear decision and follow up. But now it's really the time to realize this together with a customer, with a partner. They will build a gigafactory with a European supply chain, because when we realize this not now, then I have the big question mark, have we the chance in the future? Because when all the capacities are installed in Europe, and then it's with technologies from Basquevolt, yeah, it's possible to use the installed capacity for the next generation or the next cell technology. Then I have the question mark, when is the time to enter these gigafactories with the European machine industry, because at the moment, so what I know, there is no big player in Europe who invest in a gigafactory with a European supply chain. And I think we all together have to think about it. Is this the way that we can build up a future, a positive future for Europe when we not use the existing supply chain? Cost-wise, yeah, clear, we are not there where the Asians at the moment, but I think at the total cost of ownership, and there it's possible to go and fight with the Asian competitors.
Great. Thanks so much for sharing this, Mark. And what I hear from this is, from a technology, you can provide a solution, but the cost is still a challenge.
Yes.
And I guess that's also connected with what we spoke about this morning, which is maybe CapEx cost and OpEx cost. Especially for some of the new generations, maybe there's an opportunity, but of course then also there's a challenge to make them all work at scale. And if you think about that, I think there's a question also for different sizes of factories. I think there's also, we spoke about this earlier, you mentioned this earlier, so maybe what's your perspective on that? How common could this become, that we do maybe more medium-sized specialized factories for special applications, then maybe many more of them rather than a few big ones? So maybe, not sure if there's someone you want to touch on that.
Yeah, maybe I can start. I guess that it is also very important to consider that we have now a gigafactory for EV battery, for EV, for cars, but not only. It means we have also a big potential for battery manufacturers who will do battery for something else. Energy storage, train, bus, boat, plane, what we want. And I guess that the competition as we are facing today with Asia is mostly about a recurrent type of machinery. I mean, a type of machine who was designed since a certain time, and they do not want so much to adapt it to a special process or a special need. Then it means we have also, I guess, opportunities, certainly gigafactories also, because gigafactories could be for 10 gigawatt hour, and it could be also for 200, but for 10 is also a gigafactories. Then it is the first point. And the second point about medium size is also we had the chance to have a great collaboration with our Norwegian colleague, and who also really well investigate on it, and but not only Norwegian, but it is the discussion as I have in mind, it could have a lot of benefit, to have a small factory. It could have a benefit again for sustainability. We said no plan B, but it is something as we need to consider. We need to think we need to take decision today for the future. We need to think sustainability. And when we create a small factory or a few gigawatt hour factory, it means that it could be more easy to create a factory like this, and it could be could have less impact on the environment. It could have also less impact about people, because when we create a gigafactory, we could need to have 1,000 employees or 10,000 employees, and it means having 10,000 employees somewhere is complex in any case. Then when you do a small or medium factory, it's more easy to put a factory everywhere, not only in a big place, but and to leave the possibility to have less issues for hiring people, because definitely hiring people is a big issue inside of this business, and also for a battery manufacturer, machine builder, for everyone, it's a huge issue. And after, it could also push us to make machinery with a less impact and more efficiency. And it could give also an added value for Europe to say, okay, we will not compete against Asia on the same ground. we want to do something differently. I don't know. Our machine will have a footprint 5 times less, you know, or will need time less of energy, you know, something. If we want to do small factory or medium factory, it will be something mandatory, and it could be a great challenge for us and a great opportunity, I guess.
Good. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would adapt something about these medium-sized battery factories. I think there is a break-even point. Too small is not efficiency, and too big goes in the other direction. But everything, I think, it's a question: what is the market requested? Yeah, who needs medium battery factory, 400, 500 megawatt or 1 gigawatt. Yeah? So, and I see also this opportunity, especially for Europe, to establish their factories for special batteries, for power tools and for stationary topics and so on. But at the end, it's a question on euro per kilowatt hours. When these companies can also buy cells from Asia for cheaper euros per kilowatt hours, then they would never decide to buy these cells by a medium battery factory installed in Europe. And I think this is our problem, our goal, what we are facing, that the Asians has a lot of installed capacity, and these gigafactories, they must run on the best performance parameters, and they deliver their cells to Europe, not only in the automobile industry, for all the industry, and with the transport costs from Asia to Europe, it's not so high. And the question is how we can break this delivery from China to Europe, what we have to do, what we have to build together with a partner. And I think Claude said this at the beginning at his statement. I think it's needed that we build collaboration. So we make the starting point from the machinery building side with our cooperation with Dürr and Grob. But I think it could also help when the customers build this cooperation. We have a lot of OEMs in Germany, in Europe, when they also build a cooperation and use the same cell format. And so there was in the past some projects where they start the discussion. But since years, I never hear something about that. Each one follows his own strategy, his own cell chemistry, his own cell format. This is also what it makes not so easy for the machine builder, because we have so many different battery sizes in the market, and in addition, so many different chemistry. So there is a huge momentum there, and I think now it's time to build cooperation, and only when we have enough power in this cooperation, then we are competitive against the Asians.
Great, thank you.
Yeah, I would agree with what was just said. Like, we really need to look at what's the market. Why are we doing what we're doing? And today, at least from Basquevolt strategy, in order to achieve the cost target that we want to reach, gigafactory is the only solution we can think of, right? Now, that doesn't mean that for other application, aviation, maybe more specialty, like smaller, medium-sized factory wouldn't make sense. But really, it's depending on the market.
Yeah, and I mean, what you said then surely is some sort of a bridge between, right? That you can dilute larger capex by bringing the same material to different uses. So if there was more uniformity in what is being developed, then obviously you have this additional opportunity to still build on larger scale, but not everyone having to scale up to that level.
Yes, this is one, and I think the risk at the moment, I think this is the reason why nobody make the decision to install a gigafactory in Europe, because when you want to build up 10 gigawatt, then we talk about big amount of money what you have to invest, and I think such a cooperation, a partnership could help to share this risk and really to make the decision. We do it now, because at the moment I have the feeling, or since the last year, when in Europe we don't make the decision to invest in a gigafactory directly from the OEM side. And so I think this is the need, what we need, a cooperation, a partnership that 2-3 companies make the decision together. We share the risk and we start. And we start also with a complete European supply chain, and because everything is available, but we miss someone who said, okay, come together and let us realize this together for European and for the supply chain in Europe.
Thanks. And of course, there's a few different approaches, like at ACC and Northvolt and others. I mean, there's of course approaches, but I'm with you, right? How far does the value chain go? And like, you know, you mentioned there's a lot of competing equipment from Asia there to be used as well, and especially on the cost. And I think there's an interesting point there because you spoke about, you know, standardized form factors. We spoke about, do we have to Gen 4 chemistries, right? We should really focus on that. And there's a good question, I think. Do you believe Europe should come together and work on a descriptive new technology instead of just trying to catch up on the Asian market? And I know we already touched on this a bit in the prep, so I'm just curious if anybody has some thoughts on that.
For us, it's clear. You know, like this is the way. You cannot fight, you know, versus China. They have the volume, you know, they have the head start, they have the machines. The Americans, they have the tax system on their side. So we need to have a different playing field. We need to shift the playing field if we want it to be level. So that's why, you know, technology is, like somebody said earlier, like we have brains in Europe, you know, so you use those brains to invent, to create something that doesn't exist. That way, you know, you create the new market. That's really what we're doing. And again, at Basquevolt, we are engaging with all the other European partners. We don't try to do everything. I've explained, we try to really focus on what we do well to go fast to market and not fail. We had this discussion in the back room, you know, so many solid state startups have announced, you know, their next breakthrough in 2 years, and you know, 5 years later, nothing happened, 500 million in the bank and not a sale out there. But we have a different strategy, right? So we bring the expert, we focus on what we know. And so far, we've stuck to our timeline, and we've caught up most of the SSB startup that have started, you know, close to 10 years ago. So really, collaboration, bringing in the expert, and we have everybody here. We just need to come together.
Yeah, maybe we could also say that having a new technology of cells could be also an opportunity to restart the innovation and the research from the scratch, and because we have brains in Europe, could have a lot of benefit. Investing also inside the battery manufacturers who are doing cells for something else like cars, with a big, how to say, a big potential of business. I mean, now the price of the cells for car is so low that it's so complex to develop something else, to take the risk, as you say, to jump in a gigafactory scale with a European, because we are under pressure everywhere. Then we need to find solutions, and I guess those solutions could be doing batteries for something who have more added value. I mean, somewhere where the price of a battery could be higher. And I believe also that we need also to have the support from governments. I mean, governmental support is something mandatory, and we need to work on it. Inside Upcell, we try to do our best on it. We did a lot of job, and we will continue to do it. And I guess if we do this journey together, we will have a chance to succeed. But what I believe is, without governmental support, we will not succeed.
Sorry, Claude, and also there I have a different opinion. Yeah, government support could be a starter. Yeah, and I think Europe has saw this in the past so many times. Photovoltaic, good example, developed in Germany. not produced, not mass production in Germany, and today it's not possible to buy any photovoltaic in Germany, produced in Germany or in Europe. Yeah? So government support is a starter, but we all have to find a way that we are making this product profitable, and also this to spend in a new technology. Yeah? So it's okay, it's needed that we do that, but to go in a new technology, you have also to understood the problems in the current technology. And there is a gap, I would say more than 10 years, what the Asians has more experience than we, and we have to make the deep dive in that and understood the production and the problems in the production, because we work there with very expensive material, and scrap is one of the important topics in a gigafactory. And to learn this, it helps not to think only about in the new technology and invest capacity there. We also have to understood the current solution. And this is what I say, and for this, it's needed. We have at the moment 2 gigafactories in Europe. They start now to learn, to ramp up their machines, and they learn what the Asians have learned in the last 10 years. So for me, little bit different.
But you have to know that I agree with what you said. But if I do the synthesis of what you said and what I mean, is to say that we have a very complex challenge.
Yes.
We need every stakeholder, including government.
Yes.
And only 1 or 2 stakeholders cannot face the challenge. We need to be all together. Yeah. But all together we will succeed.
Yes.
Great. I see a lot of,
Just as we're sitting on the panel here all together.
a lot of agreement, which is good to see. Another topic,
I'd like to add another challenge, if I may, because we've been talking a lot about the technology, and that's really important, and the machine is really important, but we think another key roadblocks to the development of the European industry is the people, right? And at Basquevolt, so we went from 20 people to 100 people in a year. We expect to go to 200 people next year. And as we grow, we realize that the talent pool is really shallow, right? And we're talking about gigafactory, thousands of people, to operate. So we have our plan, but staffing is becoming crucial, and we're competing worldwide. So we're bringing talent worldwide to come to Spain. But today there's only so many. So I think there's really needs to be an awakening, at the European level, to start to inspire the youth to go into the battery business as a exciting opportunity to change the world, because this is really what's happening here. But really on our side, we're struggling, and I know we're not the only one. So it's clearly some place where Europe needs to step in.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
And there I think the government could help, with, because it's not that we not have enough people in Europe, but we have not the right trained people, and we all would see that we in the next year we will get a lot of people. They are working today in the combustion engine industry. So there I think it's needed that we have a plan how we can use this capacity, give them a training for the jobs what we need in the future.
Yeah. There I think a key aspect is actually similar to the other challenges that we talk about, also cooperation, right? Because there should be some emergent job profiles actually that are shared, and where basically everyone is contributing into this training pool instead of competing between the different players for the few talents or already trained people, which is also something that, depending on the region, we already hear about or see, right? That it's something where also more cooperation and a joint focus on it, and depending on the local government or a regulator, there is already something in place, but I think that should be even broader, that you have a joint endeavor there instead of competing then also for the resources.
And maybe as someone who spends a lot of time on training of battery talents, and we have seen it, right, and there's the programs like Battery MBA and others, we have seen the demand, and I'm very much with you. I think we have to really support the next generation. But I want to, even though it's a topic I could talk with you for hours.
We would be interviewing you then.
Which is, I think, not the plan of now, but I would love to also bring out another few topics which I see in there. And I think we spoke, of course, a lot when we talk about supply chains, often people think about materials, right? They don't really think about the factory, so it's very good and the equipment to have you here, but also would like to come to you, Carmen. Of course, there's a recent, Critical Raw Materials Act, have a requirement of 10% mining within Europe, 40% refining, two big gaps we see right now, right, on the European side. We have some great CAM producers already, but maybe how do you see this? Like, can we really fill the gap, especially also on the precursor? I've seen this as a big, gap there as well in Europe.
Well, I think as with any other part of the chain, it needs to be competitive. So we, on BASF side, we do have a precursor facility. However, for both CAM and precursor, we need to see that there is an interest and a competitiveness in comparison to imported material. Obviously, a big part then going further down the chain of the value in the cathode active material and later in the battery is coming from the metals. And then on the real mineral resources side, this region is a little bit less well equipped than other regions. So there again, I mean, you talked about scrap. That's probably the first step, and it's only a minor portion. But I think this is where governments also have to play a big role, and where I see that they are developing with the Critical Raw Materials Act the right frame to ensure that maybe it's not mined here, but the urban mines that are coming up, so actually end-of-life batteries, recycling material from scrap, that this is being kept in Europe, so we actually build our own resources and stock and can feed this back into the chain. And I think that's something that really scores on all points in a way that it gives more resource or supply security for this region. It does definitely support a lot on the carbon footprint because it will not make any sense to recycle in other regions, shipping it around and then under different conditions having the product recycled. That's where really then closing the full loop also, I think there are a lot of benefits and opportunities lie for us. And in this, I think, I mentioned it as a challenge, the ESG standards, but it's actually really something where Europe is still globally a strong benchmark and standard setter. And if this is not only established, but actually loopholes are closed and then it's followed through, and every player is held accountable to these standards, that's something where I think European companies have a leg up because they understand how the regulations work. They really have the strong DNA that they don't only sell something on the surface, but really actually also with a very technical focus, build up technology that is sustainable and deliver low carbon footprints. So I think it's maybe something that is still the other turn that we have to take in this race, but it's something that's not too far ahead of us, and where we surely have to also as an ecosystem work together to make sure that there we also keep this opportunity and convert it into something tangible and a competitive advantage in the end.
Maybe just one quick follow-up question to this, because you also saw it here, right? Like, what's the willingness to pay premiums for that? We see it's also made in Europe, like in export on the materials, and we heard earlier it can be quite tricky from an equipment side to get, people to buy equipment for a higher price. How's this for your experience for like raw material, or like CAM materials and that?
In our experience, I mean, to be very fair, we are a global company, right? So we also have a joint venture in China. So obviously we benefit from global know-how transfer, and there are a lot of things that can be leveraged across the regions. And also for us as a company itself makes sense to share. But again, coming back to the carbon footprint and really meaning sustainability in the proper sense, we believe you can only get it done if you do it local for local. So it doesn't make sense to keep on shipping stuff back and forth. And it will definitely, and we see this in our own value chain, only get you to superior carbon footprints if you use locally sourced or locally recycled material and feed it back into the chain.
Thank you. And I think there's one quite popular question about separators. I know there's no separator company here, but there's a question, you know, we all look at cathodes and anodes, but forgetting about the separator because of costs. I guess there's some solid state approaches there as well. But it would be one of the easiest things to produce in Europe. How can we encourage local investments? And even if it's not the separator, is there something else you think there's kind of people overlooking that at the moment to really invest in something very specific? Please.
I've mentioned that before, but I'll say it again. So I think partnership and local production in Europe is great as a concept, but in the end, it needs to make sense for the business, right? So this is where, you know, like separators, machinery, or anything else, we need to look at the angle. What's the angle? Why Europe, right? And not be in a defensive stance and say, oh, we have the others, we need to catch up, but really try to take the problem on a different level. You know, and if they have a better separator, more innovative or whatever, let's make it in Europe, no problem. But let's not make it in Europe because we want to protect Europe. I think this defensive strategy is a losing strategy. We need to go on the offensive, and we need to do that using technology, using innovation.
I'm a little bit surprised about this question because I know about machine builders. They build machines to produce the separator, and as well companies, they produce the separator. So I think this is the easiest way to do that, and I'm sure that we do that at the moment. So more topic, and this is also what we searched in our cooperation, is the anode and cathode material, and there I think it's overall, you hear a lot of dry coating, so is dry coating coming, when it's coming, what is the cost benefit as well, and this I think would be one where we can start now in Europe to install the next generation of technology, because in Asia at the moment, what I know, dry coating is they're not in place. And for this, I think there is some innovations, but we have to search for this and not discussing months and years. So make the decision, go ahead, take a risk, invest in this, and this is, I think, what has something to do with culture topic in Europe, and especially in Germany. We are not take the risk, and this is the problem at the moment. I think there we should change our mindset and say, okay, let us do, let us try, and only this is the way that we can turn around the current situation.
Great, thank you. Unfortunately, we're getting towards the end, so now I'd like to ask you maybe 30 seconds or so, just with a closing statement, something you want to pass on this topic of local supply chains in Europe. Maybe Carmen, you can kick us off.
Sure. So essentially, in a nutshell, what we've been discussing earlier, at BASF we believe that the whole battery endeavor in Europe, it's all about making sustainability a reality. So local for local is definitely something that we see that we need, both on the cathode and precursor step, but then also closing the loop with the recycling we're going into. We already have an established facility in Europe for CAM. Next year, we will be co-located at the same location, also in Schwarzheide in Germany, with a recycling center and hub. So we really think that, in the sense of what you just said, right, we need to prove the concept now, we really put some steel into the ground. And we believe that there is a lot of opportunity there, that this is a continent where we really mean business if we say sustainability. But we really also have to walk the talk now.
Thank you, Carmen. Mark.
Okay, I said clear statement, local for local. Yes, we need this. I said from the machine industry, everything is here from the process steps. So we have to realize them together, because when we do it not now, then never.
Great. Claude.
Yeah, for me, I believe that sustainability will be certainly one of the most important key. And as we love to say inside Schneider Electric, we believe that what we are doing and what we want to do is digital plus electric equal sustainability. digital for efficiency, electricity for decarbonation, and sustainability for smart and grid. Then I guess we need to work on it. I guess it could be a good path. We need for sure to collaborate, certainly in Europe, but maybe at the beginning not only. And we need also to find the way, as you said, to find someone, a company or government, a group, who will take this risk, because even it will be a mess.
Thank you. Quickly from you, Nicolas.
So I'll repeat what I've just said, but one more time, maybe we'll stick. Battery technology is key. Sovereignty in this domain is key for Europe. Let's just try to fight a battle we can win. Let's not try to catch up on something where the Asians have 10 years advance that we'll never be able to catch up as we're so late in the development stage of lithium ion. Let's go to the next level. Let's leapfrog the competition.
Fantastic. So with this, I would like you to thank our panelists for today.